Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, emotional, and mental health and coaching related paradigm. We try to do that as often as possible. We do it several times per week, hopefully, and usually that's beneficial to a number of people for a variety of reasons. Generally speaking, it's a good idea to check in as often as you can and subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Rules for success and ways that you can get to a better version of your own life is today's continuation series of video. And so, if you're looking to do that, would love to connect with you. If you're looking for direct coaching, life, business, relationship, whatever have you, would love to be of assistance to you as well. Please feel free to reach out on Twitter at PO Perception or in the About Me section of this YouTube page, and you can get the information that you can in order to accomplish that. So, in any event, one of the first things is acceptance. Acceptance of your limitations, acceptance of where you are lazy, acceptance of where you thrive, acceptance of new things you need to learn, and acceptance that change is always possible. These are the things that a person who wants to improve their quality of life will begin to look at. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that acceptance and agreement go hand in hand, and this is where people get very tripped up a lot of the time. When one thinks that acceptance and agreement go hand in hand, frustration can and often does abound. Not necessarily because a person is positive or negative, not necessarily because things are ideal or not, but because if you think you have to agree with something to accept it, doesn't you can often get yourself wrapped up in roles that are unhealthy and somewhat burdensome. So, the next thing is you love what you do. Now, that doesn't mean that everything you do is going to be something you enjoy. Obviously, doing the dishes or washing the kitchen floor may not be things you're passionate about, but your default setting should be, and often is important to be, enjoying what you do as often as you can and finding joy even in the things that aren't your favorite activities. For example, if you don't like washing dishes, think about a person that doesn't have hands or arms to be able to do this task. And so there's always a way to kind of reset away from being negative about what you're doing. At the same time, indulge in the things you're most passionate about as often as you can, but find joy and simplicity and value even in the things that most people may take for granted. The more you reset to a place of internal joy, the easier it is to get to a strong, intelligent, and good place with things that are most challenging. Avoid negative thinking. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't have negative thoughts. Much to the contrary, you will have negative thoughts because everyone does. Part of the human brain's purpose throughout the history of humanity has been to protect us from potential negative situations. And so, with no negative thoughts, we'd be in a lot more danger. But indulging in negative thoughts and allowing them to loop and allowing them to become the center of our brain can become and often is very damaging and problematic. So, when you find yourself in a negative thought loop, creating physical motion as well as motion of focus on the things that matter most to you then is important to be able to make an intelligent decision about how to proceed. The next thing is take calculated risks. Now, calculated risks are different significantly than needless risks or unhealthy risks or unintelligent risks. A calculated risk is a risk that ultimately is something that you do based on knowledge and also a willingness to deal with the consequences if things don't go according to plan. A calculated risk doesn't mean that everything turns out perfectly all the time. Much to the contrary, it just means that you are ready and willing and able to address the challenges that may arise from taking the risk, but you do a risk-benefit analysis and understand that without taking some risks in life, you won't get to the level of accomplishment that you desire. And in not getting to the level of accomplishment you desire, you will obviously frustrate yourself in the long and short run of it. The next thing to consider when trying to improve your quality of life is using technology appropriately. So this can be problematic for a number of reasons, but mostly for people that find this problematic, it is because they use technology as something they become dependent on rather than as a tool as it was originally intended. Technology should be used to a minimum to moderate amount. When you can do something in a non-technological way, it's better to do it that way because working with one's hands and communicating in person versus the use of technology does build better bonds and builds bigger beliefs in ourselves. And so when we are capable of doing things in a more old fashioned and in a more repeatable way, it is better to do. Using technology in small doses, though, or to disseminate information when it is the best way to do something is a perfectly acceptable and intelligent idea. So finding the balance between, um, knowing when to be tech reliant and when to be more traditional is an interesting balance to begin to learn in order to get the most out of, daily living. The next is build streams of income, build different ways that you can amass and accumulate wealth. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to ultimately be obsessed with money, obsessed with wealth, obsessed with personal riches, but wealth does create freedom. People that have more money have more freedom than people that have less money when it comes to the ability to do different things or receive care they need medically or any other number of things. So, building multiple revenue streams is important, and becoming reliant on only one source of revenue means that you are completely dependent upon the structure of that thing staying in process and progress continually. And if that doesn't happen, you will have to make major changes to your life and thus potentially the quality of your life unnecessarily. The next thing to continue is work your progressive process on a continual basis. This means become more focused on making some progress every day rather than large amounts of progress in short intervals. Most people are worried about the big leap, and there are times in life where the big leap in life as it relates to a relationship or a work related decision or where to live or where to move to, these things are necessary, but progressive focused mindset is much more powerful, much more beneficial, much more useful, because at the end of the day, if you're committed to a progress mindset, you will be able to reach the larger goals and the smaller ones more succinctly and more readily and more often. The last thing is build systems in every area of your life. If you're truly trying to accomplish the most out of your life, having a system of how to do things in order to be able to do that will make life easier. The more systems you have in place and the more synchronistically you run your life, the easier it will be to achieve the things you want to in your daily, weekly, and monthly goal sets. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to reach out if there's more that I can do for your benefit. Please feel free to reach out at any point. Until next time, everybody.